UEFA have brought 3 charges against England, would you believe? I'm not being the bearer of bad news after England got themselves through to the final on Sunday, but this is the situation. Disciplinary proceedings have just been opened by UEFA against England on 3 different points. So charge number 1, and we saw it, Andros, the laser that was flashed in the eyes of Kasper Schmeichel last night. The use of laser pointed by England fans. Charge number 2, the disturbance, Simon, caused by England fans during the national anthem. Charge number 3, the lighting of fireworks by England fans inside Wembley. So UEFA have decided on all of these 3 points to get a bit heavy. What's the upshot there, Simon?
Well,
on the laser,
I
mean, what comes of that? Who had the laser and where did you find them?
The fact of the matter is that England and the FA can't control the individual behaviour of fans that go in stadium. They can only react to it. So I don't think UEFA should be dealing with issues like that, because if they've got a protocol how fans should behave, and we're putting 60,000 fans back in the stadium and we're the poster boys for this tournament, then we've got to behave ourselves in a certain way. And I'd never have ever liked or agreed with the booing of a national anthem. I know people say it's all part of it and it's all part of the spectacle. I don't know. I think playing for your country should invoke a level of respect for the opposition that you're playing against, and then you go bash them up on the field. Don't boo their anthem. But that's some fans will think that's different.
Well, it's a strange one. The timing of that, Andros,
it's amazing
it's
how quick UEFA has reacted when, we're talking about in Hungary 2 weeks ago, monkey chants were clearly heard in 2 of the Hungary games, I think. Anti-black T-shirts in protest at black taking of the knee and marches outside the stadium, but monkey chants is undeniable. They were heard. No charges were brought, and England set off a few fireworks. Yes, the laser one's bad. The booing of the national anthem is bad, but we're talking about in comparison. Bulgaria got fined 40,000 for clear monkey chants on 2 or 3 occasions. £40,000 fine. So for these charges, in relation, £50? Fine England £50 to move on.
So you think, on balance, this is ridiculous?
It's on balance. We're talking about 3 weeks ago, at the start of the tournament, in 2 games, clear monkey chants were heard in Hungary for their 2 games. Still no word from UEFA. Still nothing. I may be wrong. They may have charged him.
I thought they were sanctioning the Hungarians, and I thought the whole issue got overtaken by the Germans' virtue signalling by trying to suggest that a law that was passed in Hungary should involve LGBTQ banners being sort of played over the Allianz Stadium, and I think all of that got lost in the background. But I had thought that the issues of the racism that was clearly heard and undeniable, that UEFA were going to sanction the Hungarians about that.
Were going to, or did come out less than 24 hours? We're talking about 12, 13 hours after the game, and these charges have come.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure of the timelines for when they did and didn't, but I do remember reading in the press that there was a reaction immediately from UEFA towards that. And then, of course, what happened was a sideshow came on, because the Germans started to suggest that a law passed in Hungary enabled the stadium in Germany to
do monkey chants.
No, to put a flag up for the LGBT calls. So I'm not sure you're right there, Andros. But the fact of the matter is that if UEFA are reacting, I'm not sure you're right to conflate the issues, because I think they do react. Whether you think £40,000 or £500.
They react when it's the Super League, the ESL, and these matters, but when it's monkey chants in the crowd.
You're not wrong there, because ultimately they're potentially going to lose their own gravy train.
Well, what's the point of all this, Simon? When you look at it now, we're now getting information the FA are facing a fine of €500 per firework. Firework.
But okay.
But this is ridiculous.
Mate, game's gone, mate. Game's gone.
€8,000 for the laser pen. That's where that one comes in it. And booing the anthem apparently would also end up being a financial penalty. But booing the anthem's going on forever.
I know. So what do you want to say to this then, right? Basically, if they say that they don't want this, what would you want them to do? And everything in football has to have a financial consequence rather than seemingly a societal one. You find somebody. Finding the Bulgarians for some idiots inside their stadium. Yeah. You can't control the minds of people. You can just react to it. So what are we saying here? The rules are the rules. Right, so they're enforcing the rules, and we're turning it into a story. I don't care that UEFA are sanctioning England about some fireworks being sent off. No. I don't care that someone's got a laser pen and they're being sanctioned for that. Let them sanction it. It's the rules. It doesn't detract from the fact that we had 60,000 fans inside a stadium. The nation is up and full of frenzy about a European Championship that we can win, and this is just a little sideshow that UEFA have to deal with.
They have to deal with it, but it does seem to me like a bit of a kick in the teeth for England, just because UEFA feel like it following England's big moment last night.
That's come on, that's sowing a seed of division, right? That if there's rules, and if the rules are there,
how can the authorities, Simon, stop fans booing the anthem?
But they can't, can they? They can't. That's the challenge. How can the authorities stop ignorant racists doing monkey chants? All they can do is react to it, ban them for life, and try to consequence people. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't have rules, it's the Wild West. What are you going to say? Actually, let fireworks off them. Boo the national anthem. It's an international sport, and you know what's behind this as well. Broadcasters around the world are seeing this sort of stuff, and the broadcasters are saying to UEFA, we don't like screening games where people are booing national anthems. Because that's a form of ism in its own way.
This is the frustration. This is our point. When it hurts their pocket, when it's the ESL, when it's this, like you said, broadcasters not happy, they react straight away. It's 13, 14 hours and they're bringing charges. But when we've been fighting racism for years now, and Bulgaria just get a slap on the wrist, £40,000 fine. It's a slower process. And like you said,
but you're conflating issues. If you look at the Rangers situation where it happened on the pitch, they have to investigate it. You can't just have a player say that one player has been racially abusing him and say, okay, you've said it, so that must be a fact. They've got to investigate things. There has to be due process. You can't convict people without some sort of trial.
I'm talking about the speed of it.
Well, if you're having to collate evidence and you're having to deal with a situation, say an allegation of racial abuse, you have to investigate it. You have to. You can't just go past go and send someone to prison because someone else said they did something.
But I must say,
we'll all be in trouble.
But Simon, it seems to me it's pretty darn pointless hitting the English FA in the pocket because some of their fans booed the Danish anthem.
Okay, well then let me put it back to you, and I'm arguing for the case. What is the alternative? Let the English fans. Do you actually, apart from being an old pair of farts about it, do you think it's good? Do you, Andros, as a player that played for England, do you think it's good that we boo the other side's national anthem?
I do not.
Do you think we should try and stamp it out if we can? Right. Yeah. And do you think the fireworks should be lit off inside a stadium?
Inside the stadium,
or whatever they did with fireworks.
No, of course she doesn't. Right. Of course she.
Do you think
I don't know.
Do you think someone should fire a laser pen in?
No,
with all that given, right? What can UEFA do then?
Well,
they've got to do something, haven't they?
They've got to do something. But how about a slap in the wrist as opposed to? I mean, Simon, we're in the realms
Jim,
of ridiculous.
What does a slap in the wrist look like then?
The FA face a fine of €500 per firework. Now, how many? There was 1, 2, 3.
But do you know what happens?
Six. I saw 6. All right, $3,000.
But do you know what happens, Jim?
I mean, it's nonsense.
But do you know what happens, Jim? What happens is, right, they go to the next time the England fans do it, what the UEFA come down to and says, right, you've been given a warning about this, right? The next time you're going to play behind a closed stadium, right? So it builds up and builds up. Now, what do you want them to do, Jim? Do you want them to put rules in place and not have any form of consequence for those people breaching them, or to simply have no rules?
Why didn't Hungary play any games behind closed doors?
Because
you can say they investigate, but monkey chants is monkey chants. You can't turn a monkey chant into something it isn't.
No, you can't.
No, exactly.
But by the same token, if you've got
their crowds were full.
So what you're suggesting
in Hungary they were.
I take your point. So what you're suggesting is right. For a minority of people, a minority of people should affect the majority. Everyone's got to stop because a minority of ignorant people stop the whole world for a majority.
But you're saying in this case there has to be a consequence for England's decisions.
And I'm saying there has to be a consequence for people being abusive in the stadium, whether it's abuse by race or abuse by any shape or form.
Andros, let me ask you this: as a player, when you line up at the anthems, the national anthem is played, and then it's the anthem of the opposing country. If there's booing, are you aware of that, and do you feel embarrassed by it?
Yes, we're aware of it and we're embarrassed by it. And even when I was playing in the younger age groups, even if we're jumping up and down, we're stretching, we're doing our laces, we were told off straight away. We were told you have to respect their nation the way they respect ours. So it's not a great advert, and I disagree with that. That is not my point. That has to stop.
What do you say to the England fans? And it would be a minority, but the England fans who booed the Danish national anthem last night.
Listen, they're not going to listen to me. There's no need for me to say anything. Obviously, they know they shouldn't be booing them, and hopefully they learn from their mistakes.
What should happen, Simon? Because come Sunday,
they'll do it again.
There'll be a bunch of fans who'll boo the Italian anthem.
Look, I mean, the bottom line is you can't control what people do and don't want to do.
Again on Monday morning?
I don't like booing, but the whole business of sport, every single football fan in every single stadium has watched people sing derisory songs about the opposition. Whether it's the colour of someone's hair, who ate all the pies, every single song is about someone making fun of someone else. And then you move it up into the territory of booing a national anthem. I think it makes us look puerile. But by the way, it's done by other countries as well.
Absolutely.
We're not the only ones that do it. So
Absolutely.
I don't want us falling on our swords like we did years ago when everyone turned around and said our hooliganism is the English disease, when we had the Italians running around doing precisely what they
Why
did.
don't
in
you
South
wait for
America.
say to the FA this morning? Look, this happened last night against Denmark. The anthem of Denmark was booed.
Yeah.
Come Sunday, you're in the final. We don't want to hear any of that when
course they're
Italy's
gonna
anthem
say
is played.
Do you think that we agree and it's not right? Do you think it's a finable offence to boo a national anthem?
Do I think it's a finable offence? I think it's laughable, but what's the alternative?
Well, that's Andros' question is a good one, because I think at the end of the day, censor them, hit them, with a warning.
Do I
we
think,
don't want
do
to
I
hear
think if
this
you're
on
late
Sunday.
for training, right, that I should fine you a week's wages, right? But everything in football is about money. I think ultimately you should be given a verbal warning, right? But because everything's about money in football, it becomes down to money. You get paid, how much is a weekly wage? No one else in the world talks about weekly wages. They all talk about what they earn on a yearly basis. But football and the way it does it, so everything is about, should we fine them? Should we do this? What is the consequence of this? You can't stop. We cannot stop.
I agree.
Stupid people
Yeah,
doing
I
stupid
agree.
things. We can
I
just
agree.
try and find out who they are and make sure they don't come in again.
But it's impossible to do that.
Well, not really.
It's impossible. What did you do last night when somebody's booing the anthem?
We live in a country where we are getting CCTV up the yin-yang. We are being watched by every single person every single day of the week through Central Intelligence. You're telling me in the 21st century we cannot pick people out in crowds and identify people? Of course we can. And things should be done better.
We've just got to our first major tournament in 55 years, and UEFA are bringing charges of £800 per firework.
It seems ridiculous, doesn't it? €500 per firework, Andros.
then
And
ignore
apparently
it.
there was a pyrotechnic count last night.
Count?
1, 2, 8.
A guy running around with fangs.
8 times 500. Hit them with 4K. I saw you hit them. It is a nonsense.
Then why are we talking
isn't
about it then?
It's going up in smoke.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.